Episode 4 Lucky's Lesson for Dimple. Lucky stood at the edge of the rooftop garden of his penthouse, the city stretching beneath him like a canvas he was finally allowed to paint on. The wind was sharp, but his thoughts were sharper. He had spent the last few days building quietly, investing in startups, funding scholarships, and transforming the community center. But today wasn't about business. Today was personal. Dimple, the girl who had once humiliated him publicly for being poor, had reached out. Her message was short, almost casual, let's catch up. Coffee. Lucky didn't reply. Instead, he sent a formal invitation to a private dinner at one of the city's most exclusive restaurants. No cameras. No crowd. Just the two of them. She arrived dressed to impress, her heels clicking against the marble floor, her smile rehearsed. Lucky greeted her with calm politeness, offering her a seat across from him. The waiter poured wine, and the silence between them was thick with history. So, Dimple began, swirling her glass, "You've changed." Lucky nodded. "I had to." She leaned forward. "I've been thinking about us. Maybe we were too young. Too impulsive." Lucky didn't flinch. "You weren't impulsive. You were cruel." Dimple blinked. "Excuse me." Lucky's voice was steady. "You didn't just leave me. You mocked me. You made me feel like I didn't deserve love because I didn't have money." She tried to laugh it off. "Come on, Lucky. That was years ago." He leaned in. "And yet, I remember every word." The waiter returned with the first course, delicately plated, expensive, elegant. Dimple looked around. "This place is incredible. You must be doing really well." Lucky smiled. "I am. But this dinner isn't about showing off. It's about closure." She frowned. "Closure?" Lucky nodded. "I wanted you to see what kindness looks like. I wanted you to sit across from someone you once belittled and realize that wealth doesn't make a man. Character does." Dimple's smile faded. "Are you trying to humiliate me?" Lucky shook his head. "No. I'm trying to teach you. Because someday, you'll meet someone who's struggling. And I hope you'll remember this moment and choose compassion over judgment." The rest of the dinner was quiet. Dimple barely touched her food. Lucky paid the bill without hesitation and walked her to the door. As she turned to leave, she paused. "You're not the same Lucky I knew." He replied, "I'm the Lucky I was always meant to be." That night, Lucky returned to his penthouse and sat by the window, watching the city breathe. He didn't feel triumphant. He felt free. The past no longer held him hostage. Lucky receiving a call from Priya. Her startup had just secured a major partnership, thanks to his guidance. "You're changing lives," she said. Lucky looked out at the skyline. "I'm just getting started." The drive back from the restaurant was silent. Lucky sat in the back seat of his Maybach, the city lights blurring past his window like emotions he didn't care to name. Dimple's expression lingered in his mind, not out of bitterness, but as a symbol of what he'd risen above. His phone buzzed. It was Priya. Not a message. A voice note. "I know what you did for Ankit's school fees. He didn't want to ask anyone, but you somehow found out. You saved his future." Lucky smiled faintly. His gestures weren't publicized. No press, no social media shoutouts. Just quiet revolutions. The kind that didn't need applause. But tonight, something deeper stirred within him. Something unresolved. Back at his penthouse, the lights were dimmed low, casting long shadows across his spacious interior. He walked into his personal library, floor-to-ceiling shelves, antique wood, a rare warmth in a space built by success. He pulled out an old book. The pages worn, yellowed, filled with scribbles from his school days. A slip of paper fell out. It was a letter. From his mother. Written before she passed, back when the world had turned its back on them. Rise not to conquer, my son. Rise to heal. To rebuild. He sat down. The weight of her words pressing gently on his chest. That was his purpose. Not revenge. Not validation. But transformation. Lucky opened his laptop. A notification popped up. His app, BridgeUp, had hit 100,000 downloads. The app connected underprivileged students to mentors, scholarships, and emotional support. That night, Lucky initiated a new challenge. A 7-day mentorship series streamed live. No filters. No edits. Just raw conversations with entrepreneurs who had built their dreams from scratch. He titled the series, From Ground to Sky. And the first guest? Ankit. Meanwhile, Dimple stared at her ceiling. The dinner replayed in loops. She wasn't used to being confronted. Not by someone she once crushed beneath her stilettos of privilege. Lucky hadn't insulted her, he'd taught her. And lessons delivered with grace hit the hardest. She opened her phone and Googled BridgeUp. And paused. Maybe he hadn't just built an empire. He'd built bridges. Maybe her world was missing that. The next morning, Lucky was at a community art workshop. No suit, no luxury watch. Just jeans, sneakers, and a t-shirt with paint stains. He worked with kids to create murals of hope across the neglected walls of Dharavi. Cameras were forbidden. Except one, his own, streaming live to a private donor network. The donors weren't billionaires. They were former scholarship recipients. One of them, now a city councillor, reached out. Lucky, you're doing what the government hasn't. Lucky replied, I'm just stitching together what was torn apart. As the sun dipped below the horizon, Lucky took a call from Arav, a tech journalist who once dismissed him as a social media fluke. Arav now wanted an exclusive interview. Why now? Lucky asked. Arav sighed. Because I was wrong. Lucky thought about it. An interview might help scale his impact. But only if the story focused on the journey, not the wealth. He agreed, but insisted it take place in Dharavi, among the murals. 2 nights later, Lucky stood before a crowd of students at Mumbai University. His keynote wasn't about startups. It was about scars. Every rejection, every insult, it gave me 2 choices. Break or build. I chose to build. Dimple watched the live stream from her room. For the first time, she didn't roll her eyes. She cried. The episode closes with Lucky receiving a letter. Handwritten. From Dimple. I don't know what I was chasing. But I see now that real currency isn't money. It's grace. It's character. I hope, someday, I'll get to rebuild something of my own, with kindness. Thank you for the dinner. It was more than closure. It was a mirror. Lucky folded the letter and placed it beside his mother's. 2 stories. 2 chapters. 1 legacy. Lucky woke before dawn, his breath calm against the quiet pull of morning. The city slept, unaware of the plans he was about to set in motion. As the light filtered through the sheer curtains of his penthouse, he sat at his writing desk and reflected on Dimple's letter once more. It hadn't brought him satisfaction, it had stirred something deeper. Maybe her growth meant he was fulfilling the promise his mother had asked of him, to rebuild. He stepped out onto his private balcony where a soft drizzle painted the air. Below him, the sound of traffic hadn't yet begun. He dialed Priya. She answered instantly, her voice hushed. "Didn't sleep?" she asked. "Barely," Lucky replied. "I want to do something disruptive." She paused. "Talk to me." "I want to create an open fund, no gatekeeping. Anyone with a viable idea gets a grant. No bureaucracy, no networking circles. Just raw potential. Let's call it Seed Spark." Priya gasped. "You'll change the game." By midday, Lucky was in a modest co-working space in Andheri where a group of young developers had been gathering weekly without sponsorship. He walked in unannounced. One recognized him, whispered his name, but most didn't notice. He sat with them and listened. A girl named Sanya pitched an app to help rural students self-learn coding using voice prompts in native languages. Her eyes brimmed with urgency. Lucky handed her his card and said, "You're the first recipient of Seed Spark." The room exploded, not with applause, but belief. That evening, Lucky held a virtual town hall via BridgeUp. It wasn't scripted. His words were unvarnished. "Some people collect cars. I collect stories. If yours has been buried under doubt, send it to me. Let's dig it up together." Emails poured in. Tales of hardship. Ideas long dismissed. Dreams paused for lack of opportunity. At dinner, Lucky met with his team. Priya, Kabir, Neeti, each had built something extraordinary with his backing. But Lucky wasn't satisfied. "This isn't about making people rich," he told them. "It's about changing how they see themselves." Neeti leaned forward. "What's next?" "We go into industries no one thinks are glamorous. Waste management. Rural farming. We invest in lives, not products." Meanwhile, Dimple started a podcast. She titled it Grace Notes. Each episode featured someone she had once overlooked. Her first guest was her former maid's daughter, now running a cafe in Pune. She credited Lucky with making her reconsider everything. Lucky listened in silence. He didn't reach out. He didn't need to. His impact was echoing on its own. The next morning, Lucky walked into a government office. Not to seek permits, but to donate. He offered tech infrastructure for skill centers in 10 neglected districts. The minister, stunned, asked, "What do you want in return?" Lucky replied, "Nothing. Just transparency." That day, Lucky was invited to a panel discussion hosted by Mumbai Tech Forum. When asked about his sudden rise, Lucky looked at the moderator and said, "It's not sudden. It's stitched together by every no I've ever received." After the panel, he stepped out and saw a boy selling books on the footpath. Lucky paused, picked up a tattered copy of The Alchemist, and smiled. He handed the boy a card and said, "Drop by tomorrow. Let's talk stories." That night, Lucky sat on his couch, his dog curled beside him, the city finally slowing down. He looked at his schedule, packed with mentoring calls, school visits, startup pitches. But his gaze shifted to a sticky note on his lamp, "Rise to rebuild." He'd risen. But rebuilding wasn't a task, it was a lifestyle. Across the city, a boy named Ravi was watching Lucky's speech on his cracked phone. He looked at his brother and said, if he can do it without asking for applause, maybe I can start too. Episode 5 Storm Before Sunrise. The city was drenched in monsoon mist, its skyline blurred like memories Lucky had long buried. He stood by the window of his penthouse, sipping black coffee, watching the rain carve rivers down the glass. The letter from Dimple lay folded on his desk, untouched since the night he received it. He hadn't replied. Not because he didn't care, but because some chapters are meant to be read, not rewritten. His phone buzzed. A message from Priya, *SeatSpark applications crossed 10,000. We need to filter. Lucky typed back, no filters. Let's read every story. She replied with a single emoji, a salute. Lucky's day began not with meetings, but with a visit to a small school in Thane. The principal, a wiry man with tired eyes, greeted him with reverence. We've heard of Bridge Up. The kids are excited. Lucky smiled. Let's make sure they stay excited. He walked into a classroom where children sat cross-legged on the floor, their notebooks damp from humidity. One boy raised his hand. Sir, are you really a millionaire? Lucky knelt beside him. I am. But that's not why I'm here. I'm here because I used to sit just like you, wondering if anyone would ever listen. The boy nodded. I want to be a scientist. Lucky grinned. Then let's build your lab. Back at his office, Lucky met with Kabir and Neeti. Kabir had just returned from a rural tech summit. There's a girl in Nashik building solar-powered water purifiers. She's 17. Lucky leaned forward. Send her the SeatSpark grant. And let's connect her with our Clean Water Initiative. Neeti pulled up a report. We're getting attention. Media wants interviews. Investors want in. Lucky shook his head. We're not selling dreams. We're funding them. That evening, Lucky attended a charity gala. He wore a simple black suit, no tie, no flash. The room was filled with glittering names, actors, CEOs, influencers. One approached him. Lucky, you're the boss. Everyone wants to know your secret. Lucky smiled. It's not a secret. It's just empathy. The host invited him to speak. Lucky walked to the stage, the spotlight warm against his skin. He looked out at the crowd and said, I didn't grow up with wealth. I grew up with silence. Silence when I asked for help. Silence when I cried. So I decided, if I ever had a voice, I'd use it to break that silence. The room fell quiet. Lucky continued, being rich isn't about money. It's about reach. How far can your kindness go? How many lives can your story touch? Applause followed, but Lucky didn't linger. He left early, walking alone through the rain-soaked streets, his thoughts louder than the thunder. At home, he opened his laptop and began reading SeatSpark submissions. One caught his eye, a girl named Meera, who wanted to build a mobile library for tribal villages. Her words were raw, her grammar imperfect, but her vision was luminous. Lucky called Priya. She's our next story. The next morning, Lucky flew to Chhattisgarh to meet Meera. She was shy, her hands stained with ink, her eyes fierce with purpose. I want children to read, she said. Books changed me. Lucky handed her a check. Then let's change more lives. Meanwhile, Dimple released her second podcast episode. This time, she interviewed a transgender activist who had once been denied housing. The episode went viral. Lucky listened quietly, proud but distant. He didn't need credit. He needed impact. Back in Mumbai, Lucky met with Arav, the tech journalist. They sat in a cafe, no cameras, no entourage. Arav asked, "Why do you avoid the spotlight?" Lucky replied, "Because the spotlight blinds. I'd rather see clearly." Arav nodded. "You're building something bigger than a brand." Lucky smiled. "I'm building belief." That night, Lucky received a call from his old college professor. "I saw your speech. You've become what we always hoped you'd be." Lucky's voice softened. "I'm still becoming." The episode ends with Lucky standing on a rooftop, watching the sunrise break through the storm clouds. He closes his eyes and whispers, "Let's begin again." The sun had barely risen when Lucky stepped into the quiet corridors of the Mumbai Rehabilitation Center. The walls were faded, the air smelled of antiseptic and forgotten dreams. He wasn't there for a photo op. He was there for a promise. A boy named Ravi, whose story had reached him through Bridge Up, had been admitted after collapsing from exhaustion. Ravi had been working two jobs while trying to study engineering. Lucky walked into his room, where the boy lay asleep, his textbooks stacked beside him like shields against the world. Lucky didn't wake him. He sat beside him and left a note, "Rest now. Your dreams are safe." Outside, Priya waited with updates. Seed Spark had just received a proposal from a group of visually impaired coders in Hyderabad. They wanted to build an AI assistant tailored for accessibility. Lucky read the pitch and nodded. "Fund it. And let's hire them to improve BridgeUp's interface." Later that day, Lucky visited a textile factory in Surat. The workers were mostly women, their fingers calloused, their eyes tired. The owner had been exploiting them with delayed wages and unsafe conditions. Lucky didn't confront him. He bought the factory. And the first thing he did was install air conditioning and double the wages. When asked why, he said, "Because comfort shouldn't be a luxury. It should be a baseline." Back in Mumbai, Dimple was preparing for her third podcast episode. This time, she was interviewing a young man who had once been homeless and now ran a shelter for LGBTQ youth. She asked him what changed his life. He said, "Someone believed in me before I believed in myself." Dimple paused. "Was it Lucky?" He smiled. "He never told me his name. Just left a note and a prepaid phone with contacts for help." That evening, Lucky received a call from Arav. "The media's calling you a silent storm. You're everywhere, but you never speak about yourself." Lucky replied, "Because the story isn't mine. It's theirs." He then attended a private dinner hosted by a group of philanthropists. One of them, a billionaire named Rajat, leaned in and said, "You're disrupting the system. You know that, right?" Lucky smiled. "I'm not disrupting. I'm correcting." The next morning, Lucky visited a prison. Not to meet an inmate, but to launch a rehabilitation program. He spoke to a group of young men convicted of petty crimes. "You're not your worst mistake," he told them. "You're your next decision." One of them, a boy named Imran, asked, "Will people ever trust us again?" Lucky replied, "They will. Because I do." Meanwhile, Mira's mobile library was rolling through tribal villages. Children gathered around, touching books like treasures. She sent Lucky a video. He watched it in silence, then forwarded it to Priya with the message, "This is why we build." That night, Lucky sat alone in his penthouse, the city glowing beneath him. He opened a journal and wrote, "Impact isn't loud. It's lasting." Across town, Ravi woke up in the hospital. The nurse handed him a phone. It had a message from Lucky: "Your tuition is covered. Your health matters more than hustle." Ravi cried. Lucky walking into a small bookstore and buying every copy of a book titled The Power of Quiet. He donated them to schools, with a note inside each: "Sometimes, the loudest change begins in silence." Episode 6: The Stranger in the Shadows. Lucky stood at the edge of the community center's rooftop, watching the children below chase each other through the courtyard. Their laughter echoed against the walls he had helped rebuild. The mural behind them, painted by Meera and her team, depicted a boy holding a book in one hand and a torch in the other. It wasn't just art. It was prophecy. Lucky smiled, but his eyes held a storm. Something was coming. He could feel it. Back at his penthouse, Priya was waiting with updates. Seed Spark had crossed 50,000 applications. The team was overwhelmed. Lucky walked in, drenched from the drizzle, and dropped his bag on the couch. "We need a new system," he said. "One that doesn't just fund ideas, but mentors them. We are not just giving money. We are shaping futures." Priya nodded. "I've already started building a mentorship grid. But there's something else." She handed him a file. It was a background report on a man named Arjun Malhotra. A venture capitalist. Ruthless. Connected. And now, interested in Lucky's empire. "He's been asking questions," Priya said. "Not the good kind." Lucky scanned the file. Arjun had a reputation for buying out startups, gutting them, and selling their shells. He wasn't interested in impact. He was interested in control. Lucky closed the file. "Let him ask. We'll answer with action." Later that day, Lucky visited a shelter for abandoned pets. It wasn't on his schedule. He'd heard about it from a child at the school in Thane. The shelter was underfunded, overcrowded, and on the verge of closure. Lucky walked in, knelt beside a trembling dog, and whispered, "You're safe now." He funded the shelter, hired a vet team, and launched a campaign to encourage adoption. It wasn't about animals. It was about empathy. Meanwhile, Dimple's podcast was gaining traction. Her latest episode featured a domestic abuse survivor who had started a self-defense school for women. The story was raw, painful, and powerful. Lucky listened in silence, then sent a donation anonymously. Dimple received the notification and knew exactly who it was from. She didn't reach out. She didn't need to. That evening, Lucky attended a tech summit. Arjun Malhotra was there. Their eyes met across the room. Arjun approached, drink in hand, smile sharp. "You're making waves, Lucky." "But waves crash." Lucky replied, "Only if they're shallow." Arjun chuckled. "Let's talk. I could help you scale." Lucky's voice was calm. "I'm not building a ladder. I'm building a bridge." The conversation ended with polite nods, but Lucky knew it wasn't over. Arjun didn't take rejection lightly. Back at Bridgeup HQ, Lucky met with a group of interns. One of them, a girl named Zoya, had developed a prototype for a mental health chatbot tailored for teenagers. Lucky tested it, asked questions, and smiled. "You're onto something. Let's build it." The next morning, Lucky received a message. No name. No number. Just a sentence: "You're being watched. Be careful who you trust." He didn't panic. He called Priya. "Double-check our systems." And with every new hire. Later, Lucky visited a hospital where a young girl named Ananya was undergoing treatment for leukemia. Her father had applied to Seed Spark, not for a startup, but for support. Lucky walked into her room with a teddy bear and a promise. You'll get the best care. And when you're better, I want you to design our next campaign. Ananya smiled weakly. Can it be about hope? Lucky nodded. It already is. Meanwhile, Arjun met with a journalist. He handed over documents, twisted truths, half-lies, and manipulated data. Let's expose the cracks, he said. The journalist hesitated. Lucky's helping people. Arjun's voice was cold. That's what makes it fun. The article dropped 2 days later. Headlines screamed, Insta millionaire's empire built on secrets. Lucky read it, then called a press conference. He stood before the cameras and said, I've made mistakes. But I've never hidden my heart. If you want to know who I am, ask the people I've helped. The response was overwhelming. Testimonials flooded social media. Videos of Lucky at shelters, schools, hospitals. Stories from Meera, Ravi, Zoya. The truth drowned the noise. Arjun watched from his office, furious. He's not just popular. He's protected. That night, Lucky sat with Priya and Kabir. We need to be smarter. Stronger. But never colder. Priya nodded. We're not just building an empire. We're building immunity. Episode 6 ends with Lucky walking through a quiet street, the rain soft against his skin. A child ran past him, holding a book. Lucky turned to see the mural again, the boy with the torch. He whispered, let's keep the fire burning.